When you're injured and missing time from work or your business, it can be devastating financially. Today, we're going to look into who pays, how, when, and what documentation you need to present a valid wage claim in a Maryland auto accident injury claim. Good morning, everybody. It is Jobeth Bowers, your accident and injury guy, coming at you from my Elkton office. We are probably about a month away from doing these from the soon-to-be-open podcast studio, Media House Plaza in downtown Elkton. Also excited to announce a partnership that we have with the Sports Weekly Plus paper, where you may have found out about this episode reading a column that we're doing there weekly to enhance this Monday morning lawyer concept. So if you are tuning in from Sports Weekly, drop a comment. Let us know that you're coming from Sports Weekly. We'd love to have some feedback and know who's watching us that's also reading Sports Weekly. It's a great paper. If you're not reading it, it's more than just sports for Cecil and Harford counties. Lots of great stuff in there. So this week's topic, we are talking about wage loss in an auto accident claim, and we've touched on it in different scenarios and for different reasons over the years of doing the podcast. But today, I want to talk about where money potentially comes from when it comes to wage loss, when you would get paid that money, and what documentation that you need to substantiate a valid claim for the wage loss. Okay, first step, let's talk about the qualification. What makes the wage loss claim work? What do you need? Okay, three things that basically cover it, at least for W-2 employees. If you are a 1099 contractor, if you are a self-employed person, run your own business, and maybe you're not on the payroll in the traditional W-2 sense, if you're a K-1 or something like that, it could get more complicated and we may need additional documentation. We'll talk about that at another time. But today we're talking about W-2, either salaried or hourly employees. Similar needs, similar everything that goes into it. So you need three things. Number one, when it comes to an injury claim, you need a medical doctor to actually write you an off work slip that says, because of these injuries, so-and-so is off work until whatever. Usually, unless you've had a surgery or a broken bone to a lower extremity or something like that, you're not getting the time off of work for more than a week, 2 weeks tops at a time. If you are post-operative and they want you out for 6 or 8 weeks, that's really the only scenario in which we see longer notes, disability slips, if you will, from doctors. Usually, like if you go to the ER, you're going to get a disability slip for 3 days. The 3 days, the day of, and 2 more. Whatever it is, whatever the time frame, and in many of these cases where there is ongoing time missed from work, we are seeing multiple disability slips that come in every week, every 2 weeks, depending on the doctor and depending on those visits. So that's step number one. You can't, and it's important to emphasize that you can't just decide, hey, I don't feel like going to work today, or I have a doctor's appointment that I've scheduled it in the middle of the day, so I'm going to take the whole day. That doesn't work. You need the doctor to say, this person is disabled from doing their regular job for this period of time. So that's step one. Step two is you need to actually not go to work, which is important on many, many levels. The doctor's writing you off of work for safety reasons, for your own health reasons. Every element of this, we should be following the doctor's orders. So you can't do this sneaky, well, I'm going to go work and say I didn't. That is fraud, to just get to it. And that doesn't work. These insurance companies will call your employer and verify that you didn't actually go to work for the period of time in question. So you can't play both sides of it. You can get paid using vacation time, sick time, if you're a salaried employee, but that's different. We'll get to that. But you can't actually work that time. Does it get more complicated if you have a partially hybridized work from home situation? It sure does. So if you are working, you are not off of work. It's very clear that's a distinction. The third thing that you will need is a salary and verification form from your employer. What I recommend that my clients do, I say if you needed to ask time off from work for a future medical appointment, for a vacation, you just want the day off of work, whoever that person is that you ask for is probably who you need to take this form to. They're somewhere in HR, depending on the size of the company. It may just be the owner. They, not you, they need to fill out this form that says works this amount of time, has worked here since whenever, this is how much they get paid, and confirms the time that you actually missed from work, because you actually have to miss the time from work. So number one, doctor's note. Number two, wage and salary form. Number three, you actually have to miss work. I know I switched 2 and 3 there, but that doesn't matter. They're in no particular order. So where does the money come from? There's a couple of different sources for which you can get paid for this time off of work. First and foremost, in Maryland, personal injury protection coverage. If you contact our office early and you are missing time from work, we are going to do what we can, and we can't always do this perfectly, but in whatever situation we have, and it varies by insurance company that we're dealing with, we are going to do what we can to protect your wages, your PIP money, for wage loss. Now, some companies don't work that way. They don't let you reserve. They want to close those files first in and first out. There's not much success that we've had or anybody else has had with a handful of companies, a small number of companies that are we don't care. We're not holding anything for anybody. We'll still try. We will still try. But overall, we'll let you know ahead of time that, hey, this might not work. We need to get this wage information as soon as possible. So sometimes just being there first is how we do it. So personal injury protection up to whatever your limit is. So make sure you're looking at your policy. Make sure you have not waived PIP. If you've waived PIP, you get no wage loss from PIP. We've talked in the past about ways in which you can increase that PIP coverage up to $10,000 with some companies in Maryland. Do that. It's very inexpensive, and it's going to pay you, and there's going to be more money for your wages when the time comes. I'm not going to name names, but I will tell you that the insurance company that we have the most problem with on that first in, first out situation will not sell you $10,000 in PIP coverage. They used to, but then about 10 years ago, they stopped, and they won't sell you more than $5,000. So I don't need to tell you the name of that company. You just need to find a company that's going to give you $10,000 in PIP, and you'll know that you don't have at least the one that I've run into the most with the first in, first out issue. Doesn't mean that we won't have difficulty with different insurance adjusters. That's our problem to deal with. We're going to fight it for you. So that's the first round of where money might come from. And when you're getting wages from PIP, per that contract and per the statutes associated with it, they're going to pay you 85% of your pre-tax wages. So if you are making $20 an hour, why did I put myself to a math test in the middle of this podcast? Don't ask me. $20 an hour and you miss 40 hours of work. That's $800 times 0.85. You will actually receive a check from your insurance company for $680, which is 85% of those wages. I'm not doing any more examples because I kind of trapped myself with a math problem here that I wasn't anticipating anyway. So that's the math there, and one of the sources to get it. Additionally, and when that PIP runs out, our office is keeping track of all the time you miss from work. It's going to be part of what we submit to the at-fault insurance company, and it's going to be rolled up into the negotiation of your settlement. Does it sound like you're getting paid on this twice? Maybe. Maybe, because depending on how much time you miss from work and how much PIP insurance you have, your PIP may not fully cover the time you miss from work. Additionally, Maryland has a fantastic rule from an evidentiary standpoint that means that doesn't count against you. You can have the PIP pay it and make it be part of the overall settlement. So yes, you can kind of, in some scenarios, double dip. It all depends on what the numbers are, and it's completely legitimate and above board. Your employer may have also offered you, and you may be a policyholder for a long-term or short-term disability plan. Our office doesn't directly handle those. We can help you with the paperwork, but you wouldn't want us handling that element of it and charging a fee on it. You should get your money. Sometimes we do have to get involved with them if and only if they have a right to be reimbursed out of a settlement. Some do, some don't. Many of them will try, even if they don't have the contract. I've recently seen somebody try to send documentation after the claim was made saying, hey, would you sign this? Fortunately, the client ran it by me because it was trying to create their right of reimbursement that they did not have in the original contract. So we snuffed that out real quick. That way the client can get their long-term or short-term disability. I don't remember which one it was. And it doesn't have to be reimbursed from their settlement. That's super important. And finally, another way that you may get paid is if you have vacation or you have sick time or you are a salaried employee, you may continue to get paid. People scratch their head and say, well, how can I get paid for that if I'm getting paid using vacation or I'm salaried or sick time? And that is a super important question. Here's the thing. You're still losing out. If you have a specific finite amount of vacation time. So if you're using some of it because of this accident, you're not using it later in the year when you want to go on vacation. So you get compensated for that. Additionally, let's say you're salaried. So there's not specific vacation time and vacation allocation. What are you missing out there? Well, you're missing out on performance and production. Inevitably, you are probably working for an employer that every so often, annually, every couple years, whatever it might be, is going to look at your performance and say you do or do not deserve a raise. Well, if you miss a week, if you miss 2 weeks from work, that's several percentage of the year, depending on the amount of time. That's a percentage of your overall work production that's just not happening because you're not there. So even though financially you may not directly be losing out, you are losing out on opportunity, and that you can get compensated for. And a lot of people don't understand that. So it's important that you have somebody like us guiding you through this process to make sure that you are getting what you deserve, that you're getting it timely. Because as we've also talked about before, I don't want your bills running through PIP directly. I want them running through health insurance first. It's more money in your pocket when you do it that way. We're here to help guide you on it. Also, to make sure that you're only paying back out of your settlement what you owe, not somebody trying to create an interest for reimbursement where it wouldn't have otherwise exist. So that's all we have for today. Again, if you found us through Sports Weekly Plus, please comment below so that we know. We'd love to have that feedback. We'd love to keep doing this, but we need to know that you're watching and you found us through that. So until next week, same place, same time, or watch us whenever you're ready to watch us, because we are on YouTube forever, as long as it exists. If you have a question for the podcast, shoot us an email, info@bowerslawmd.com. Anytime that you send us a question, make sure you mention that it's for the podcast. If we use this topic, we're going to talk about it generally like today. Your name won't be mentioned. And if you give me a specific scenario, I will also change the facts so that I'm still answering the question properly, but in a way that if your friends and family are watching, they don't say, hey, that's so-and-so situation. Also, past episodes of the podcast, check it out. Go to bowerslawmd.com. Up in that top bar, right beside our phone number, that's the same number you'd call to get our help with an accident. Click where it says podcast. You will find all the back episodes. There's tons and tons of knowledge there. We're going to be putting snippets in the newspaper every week. Obviously, it's going to take you like 2 minutes to read that and a 15-minute episode. So there's far more information here in the episode. So we appreciate you tuning in. Hope this was helpful for you and that you learned a lot. And we will see you next week, Monday, 11 a.m., right back here. Be well. Be safe out there.